quorum, right? Rachel? Testing 1, 2, 3. Yep, there you go. It says for some reason it is failing to detect my microphone. And Chris with perfect time. The Zoom is saying it's failing to pick up my microphone. I mean, my microphone works, but does it have anything to do with the audio on Zoom?
We can still hear you, Dom.
You can still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All righty. With that, it is 5:30. I would like to call to order this meeting of the Meridian Parks and Recreation Commission. It is Wednesday, November 18th at 5:30 on the dot. Rachel, would you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you. Dom Gelsomino,
Present.
Autumn Short, Keith Bevan,
Present.
Jennifer Bobo,
Present.
Camden Hyde,
Present.
Joe Greer. Joe Greer. So I see Joe Greer, but we don't hear her. So John Nesmith,
Present.
Albert Kang, Jessica West,
Present.
Councilman Hoagland.
Present.
Wonderful. We have a full house tonight. A quorum being present, I would like to move for the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
President, I make a motion to adopt the agenda with Commissioner West.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I can second if you hear me.
Absolutely, we hear you. Moved by Commissioner West, seconded by Commissioner Greer. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? So ordered. Our next item is the approval of the minutes for the October 14th, 2020 regular meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting?
This is Commissioner West. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting.
It has been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It has been seconded by Commissioner Greer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordered. Awesome. Moving on to our next item is our announcements. We have 2 new commissioners to welcome to our family. I'd like to welcome Commissioner Albert Kang and Commissioner Autumn Short. We'll begin with Commissioner Kang. Please welcome. Please feel free to introduce yourself and just take a couple minutes to meet your new Parks and Recs family.
Thank you, President. My name is Albert Kang. I'm a resident in South Meridian at Bear Creek. I have 4 children, my oldest being 5 and my youngest being 2 months old. And so we are big fans of the parks and recreation activities here in the city. I'm looking forward to learning from all of you, commissioners and staff, making a contribution.
All right. See you later. Have a good evening.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And Commissioner Short, welcome.
Thank you. I am excited to be here. My name is Autumn Short, and I have lived in Meridian for almost 5 years. I am a transplant from Kane County, where I was very active there, but I am extremely excited to serve my community and the city of Meridian. So I look forward to working with all of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and welcome to you both. We're excited to see the contributions and the ideas and the passion that you will bring to this commission. We're looking forward to it. Our next item is just a quick announcement, our elections for the 2021 commission leadership will be next month at our December meeting. Typically the vice chair, or the vice president of the commission has an automatic nomination for the presidency, and then we are always looking forward to having people step up and participate and join in the leadership by running for vice president. Steve, do you have any other additional comments that you'd like to add on to that?
Not specifically, but we would just like to put out the call for, if you are interested in being the vice president to be in line for the next president position, it actually can help if you would let us know, particularly through Rachel, so that we can be prepared for those conversations. But it's open to anyone. But anyway, we just welcome that and just wanted to have it on your radar that elections for 2021 leadership will be had at our next meeting.
Awesome, thank you. And Steve, if you want to just continue there with the next item on our agenda, the brainstorm and identify 2021 Meridian Parks and Recreation all commission goals for next month's meeting. The floor is yours.
And Mr. President, if I might, I just realized that we should also have a welcome back to, or continue to John Nesmith. He was also reappointed last night at City Council. While we know and love John, and he's probably the oldest serving commissioner we have left at this point now that Craig's gone, I believe. But I want to extend my gratitude to John for being willing to continue with the commission. And we probably should have had that on as its own separate agenda item to recognize that he was reappointed as well. But I did not want to miss that. So maybe I'll just pause there and ask if there's anything that you want to say as well on that, President.
Well, I agree. I echo your sentiments, John. We're very, very thankful to have you and your youth and your young mind here on our commission. And yes, you're our veteran commissioner, but we're glad to have you here and to continue to share your ideas and your thoughts and your experience with the commission, with the rest of us. And as well, it's important in this time when we now have two new commissioners and they have that opportunity to be able to work with someone who has been on this commission for a longer period of time and can learn of what experiences you have brought and what experiences you have had on this commission.
If it's okay, I might just ask John if I don't know if you have the ability to turn on your video or just your mic and say a few words.
There we go.
Yeah.
I got to make sure that my messy desk doesn't get shown. So, well, thank you, Steve and Mr. President, and Brad and all the city council and mayor. I appreciate the appointment and the opportunity to serve, and look forward to that. And I guess I wasn't ready to hang her up, and so I really enjoy the commission and giving back to me, and just really looking forward to doing it. And so thank you for the kind words. Appreciate that.
John, how many years has it been for you now?
2010. So we're coming up. It'll be starting 11th year in January.
Yeah, so 10 years. That's what I was thinking. So that's awesome. So thank you for your continued service. All right, Mr.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you. Appreciate it. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
With that, then I will actually do my announcement for number 5, and that is, you will see at the bottom of the current agenda all of the 2020 all commission goals. There are 11 of them. That's the list of goals that we want to update next month. So I would ask that between this meeting and next, if you would please spend a little time with those goals and let us know if you see any changes, if you see something that's missing that you want to add, something that's complete that you want to delete. We will be doing the same thing as staff for you, but we want these to be your goals, not our goals. It's all our collective goals. So would welcome your feedback. And what we'll do for our new commissioners, we'll have a process next month where we will pull up all of these goals as they need to be modified and any new ones. And then we have kind of a ranking process where each one individually will rank them for you personally. And then we take those ranks and combine them into a group score. And then we just have you adopt them as a group, that as a commission, this is where we are in terms of our priorities. So that will take place at our December meeting. So please take a look at the 2020 All Commission goals. And if you can let us know before that meeting, if you have any additions or changes, we can actually come prepared with that already in. If somebody has something at that meeting that they want to add, it's not too late. We will add things on the fly or change things on the fly, but the more prepared we can come with, okay, here's the draft list. Now let's go through them and prioritize them together. It only helps us be more efficient. So with that, I'll stand for any questions on that item.
Thank you so much, Steve. Do we have any questions from the commission for Director Sidaway? Hearing none. Steve, thank you so much. Our next item is our upcoming events by our very own Shelley Houston. Shelley, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. How are you? We finally have things to talk about and make up for lost time. In process right now, 10 of our city parks have big leaf dumpsters as part of our ongoing Recycle the Fall program. So people are invited to bring their bagged leaves and dump them in these dumpsters. They're in 10 different city parks, and they'll be in position until November 28th. So I think it's been well received, and Republic Services is our partner on that. So that's going well. Recycle the Fall. Speaking of leaves, Rake Up Meridian's going very well. The raking's already taking place. The yards of about 170 seniors or people with physical challenges will be raked by about 60 different volunteer teams. So that's going very nicely. We were also able to sneak in our annual Veterans Day ceremony at the Rock of Honor on November 11th. It was hybrid, part online, part attended in person. Almost every single person had a mask, and we got some nice compliments on that. So I think it was a safe thing, and I'm glad that's over with. It went well. We also were able to, before we had to kind of ratchet down a little because of COVID, we held our Holiday Classic volleyball tournament and cornhole tournament at the home court. And these are the two activities that help raise money so that we can buy Christmas gifts for the low-income preschoolers who take part in Meridian's Head Start program. So in all we had, that was November 7th and 8th. It was a Saturday and a Sunday. In all we had 31 volleyball teams and then 20 cornhole players. And so all those team fees will go towards this charity project. And we also sold about $560 worth of raffle tickets. So we were very pleased we got that snuck in under the wire as well. We're finally about ready to announce our Christmas in Meridian. They're not events, they're activities. We're being careful to make that distinction. They're not big gatherings, but we've kind of reinvented the Christmas in Meridian that we're able to do. And we're working on a press release, and we'll kind of open the floodgates here for participation soon. Santa's mailbox will go up at City Hall on November 25th through December 17th. Any child that puts a letter to Santa in the mailbox with a clearly legible return address receives a personalized reply in the mail that our staff and volunteers will prepare. So Santa's mailbox, business as usual. Now, something new is Zoom with Santa. We're going to let parents and guardians go online and make an appointment for their kids to have a 3 or 4 minute personalized chat with Santa via Zoom. And so we're going to do that. I heard we can accommodate about 600 kids. It's over the course of about 4 or 5 days. And we have about 3 different Santas taking part. So Renee White is coordinating Zoom with Santa new this year. The downtown business decorating contest will go on. So downtown businesses are encouraged to decorate, and then people are encouraged to go and view the decorations and lights and vote online for their favorite, and there'll be some prizes. As well, the city Christmas tree in Generations Plaza will be lit most likely on December 4th, ? And we're debating how that's going to go down. It's not going to be a big parade and tree lighting as usual. So that's in the works. We're also doing something in lieu of the Winterland Children's Festival. We're calling it Winterland in the Bag. And on Saturday, December 12th, families can pay a visit in their vehicles to the Meridian Community Center, and the kids can pick up will be handed a free little goodie bag full of crafts and little gifties and game pieces and a little activity book. And so those can go to about 500 kids. We'll have families stay in the car, and a volunteer with the proper precautions will hand them their free little goodie bag. Sparklight is our partner with that, and they have really cute little reindeer designed goodie bags, little drawstring bags. Maybe we'll have a chance to show you one of these times. So that's December 12th, beginning at 10 a.m. Something new also is the Meridian Ornament Drop. Remember how we did the art drop during Art Week where people hid little bits of art around town for others to find? We're encouraging them to do the same, but with handmade Christmas ornaments. They can hang it in a tree or prop it on a windowsill for someone else to find. And we hope they'll post it online with the hashtag Meridian Ornament Drop, so we can see who hid what and who found what. A couple quick ones. Salvation Army Angel Tree is going strictly virtual this year. We just really don't have foot traffic in City Hall with that many employees at work. So I did some homework today, and I've got people can literally go online, pick out the toy they want to buy or who they want to buy for, or make a cash donation. And they literally make the payment or the donation online, and it kind of all takes care of itself with no touch. Christmas at a little free library. We'll have Christmas books out in the book exchange box. And then on the christmasinmeridian.org website, we'll just collect all sorts of events, whether it's the Christmas lights at Sensi or some Christmas bazaars, or I know a running shop's having an ugly sweater contest. People can come. We're even going to maybe have a map of all the best Christmas lights in Meridian. That'll be at christmasinmeridian.org. And I'll get this to all of you in print as soon as all the details have settled, which will be very shortly. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Shelley, thank you so much. And, I will admit a couple of the commissioners will be assisting with the Winterland in a Bag. And in lieu of my absence as the Grinch this year, I will confess to being one of the two of Santa's elves at the Winterland in a Bag. The Grinch costume is being dearly missed in my heart. I am hoping that if by next year life returns to some semblance of normalcy, I will be back in that Grinch costume.
Hopefully your heart will grow 3 sizes as per the movie.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you. Any questions about the events that you're hearing described?
I'm being Jovi.
Oh, good. Yes. We'll have Jovi and Elf. It'll be cute couple. So thank you guys for doing that.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, watch for details soon, and we'll fill in all the blanks as the details become available.
Thank you so much, Shelley. Are there any further questions from the commission for Shelley before she takes off? Hearing none. Thank you so much, Shelley, and thank you again, Commissioner Greer, as well for volunteering to be Jovi.
Well, of course, it's Christmas.
Goodbye.
For our new commissioners, just a very, very quick, shout out. Commissioner Greer has served for several years now on the Winter Christmas Planning Committee, and honestly, her and that entire team have done a fantastic job every year, and this year, most of all, by performing the acrobatics that they've had to perform to accommodate and to, adjust our Winterland and our Christmas festivities for the times that we're living in. So thank you so much, Commissioner Greer, and to all those on the Christmas Planning Committee.
Thank you, Dom.
Yeah. Our next item is our new business. The first on our list is the Meridian Parks and Recs Department Park Maintenance Division update. We have Mr. Roger Norberg, our Parks Maintenance Manager. Mr. Norberg, welcome to the commission. Please feel free to provide us with your update. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I will attempt for my first.
Roger, do you see your PowerPoint?
I do not. I thought maybe I would share my screen and do it. Would that work? Or is there another way?
Rachel, it sounds like his voice is coming from the computer more so than the audio.
Can you not hear me?
So, Mr. Norberg, it sounds like your voice is coming out from the audio of the computers more so than the PA system in the chamber.
For what it's worth, I hear him great, just like I hear you from a remote position.
Steve, it's the same thing for you. Your voice just kind of disappeared as well. We can barely hear you, but you're not coming through on the PA system in the chamber. You're coming through the audio in the computer.
Was I coming through on the PA system before?
There you are. We hear you now.
Huh. I didn't change anything, so I don't know what just happened.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Interesting. Okay, well, if you can hear me, Rachel, do I have access then to move the slide, or do I just ask you to move it?
Either way, Roger, just let me know.
Okay. Well, I'd like to introduce you to the staff first. I think if you look at how long everybody's been here, it's this kind of a tribute to the teamwork this year. We got Brad, this 24 years he's been here. And the top row, and Kevin and Dave to a point they're kind of the old school guys that have been here a long time. I don't know if I can move over and see. We have Frank and Wade and John and Kyle and James and John Aceves, the newest ones. So really a nice team of guys. A lot of workmanship between them, and I actually couldn't be prouder to be associated with these guys. See if I can move. New addition, although he's not in my report, is Matt Perkins. He's the new city arborist. He's just been a great addition. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he stepped right in and has been successful right off the bat. He's just a team player and a really good hire, I think. So we're broken into. We rewrote the job descriptions a couple of years ago, and our order of operations, where we have Jeremy as our assistant maintenance foreman, and we have a couple crew chiefs, and then we have senior maintenance techs and techs. And Jeremy has a reporting structure of Brad, John, and James. Brad's a senior maintenance tech, and is between him and Jeremy, that very, very capable guys of just building things. It's amazing what they can do. They can put a snowplow on a truck and make it look like it came right out of the factory. It's really neat work. John and James manage our irrigation program and landscaping and special projects. Let's see, can I get the next slide? And then Dan is a crew chief on our north side. That would be Kleiner Park, Settlers Park, and everything. We kind of split it along Franklin, if you will. And Kyle is kind of Dan's right-hand man. Kyle just recently had a little baby boy, and he brought him in the other day, and it was pretty cool. Kyle manages our spray program, and so he's the guy that's out about. You'll see him in the parks doing that. And Dave runs Settlers Park, and Wade runs Kleiner Park. Wade is he's just a wonderful human being, probably crowd favorite. Phil is our crew chief on the south side. That would be the big parks, Discovery, Bear Creek, Story, over in there. Then he and Frank kind of team together a lot, and they're the guys that you'll see out working on the playgrounds and the swings and the fences and clear down to the toilets and the flush buttons. And these guys, they just search and destroy. They get a lot done. Frank also runs our mow crew during the summer. Deb runs Story Park and the dog park, and she works with the chamber, and she does a lot of other special projects for us. She runs our fire extinguisher program, our AED program. Oh, excuse me, Dan does that. And she does the, no, it's escaping me right now. Sorry. Kevin is kind of our local, he's probably our most purebred horticulturist that we have. He actually has taken plant pathology classes, and the guy he's probably at the bare roots. Just, this is him at the core. John Aceves is our newest addition. Very capable man. He came to us. He'd been a seasonal on a mow crew for a couple of years, and he came on about a year ago now, a year and a few months, and he's out running Discovery Park for us. Some of the stuff we train on is certifications. We wrote our own in-house safety program, and we have guest speakers come in, and then I rotate between the staff who's going to run safety once a month. Everybody is CPR and AED certified. We have to jump in the holes and be confined space trained a lot. Every one of our staff is trained as professional applicators. We have in-house certification for landscape and irrigation, and 3 levels of that. I can't seem to move it, Rachel. Thank you. We also have national certifications that we keep the CEUs up on. Playground safety inspector, that's a big one for us. A lot of inspections on the playgrounds, and even so, we can't always catch them. I'll show some data here in a little bit that shows how many shackles and swings and slides and things and twisty toys that just get a lot of use. And we now have 4 certified arborists here. We even have Kyle, even recently. The guy's just really smart. He just went out and decided he wanted to get a pool operator certification, and he just did it. And yep. Can I get the next slide, please? I think one of the biggest challenges is probably the seasonal aspect of this, but it is what it is. It's a transitional workforce, and you can just kind of see the sheer numbers that we kind of go through to keep the crew intact. A lot of interviews. Guys come in and they work a few months sometimes, and they get a full-time job. And the last couple of years have probably been a little bit more challenging than others in the job market the way it is. This year we rewrote the contract maintenance for all of the city contracted sites. This is from fire stations to city hall to ACAC drain beds to well houses and stuff. And there's 48 locations that we oversee with Lawnco. Security systems are kind of a necessary evil, I guess, of what we have. The cameras that we have, a lot of good success stories. We've caught some kind of not so nice people doing not so nice things, and that's kind of the bad part you have to see sometimes. But a really neat success story was out at 8th Street Park. A gal lost her wedding ring, and they called, and I looked at some footage, and you could actually see her set the ring down on the playground, and they forgot about it. And another kid came by, and you couldn't actually see the ring, but you could see about the time it got knocked down, another couple came, found the ring. They didn't call it in or anything, but we were able to track the ring down and able to get the ring back to her gal. So sometimes it's a nice success story. Next, please. Oh, back one. Operations. there's quite a bit that we do out of here. The picture on the left is project Brad's working on. We're putting a snowplow on the truck. We ice melt tanks and backup lights and alarms and our lift. We use that a lot for a lot of different things. The picture on the right is Jeremy downtown. That's fixing our water line for the downtown tree wells. When they put the sewer line in on the main Meridian project, they went through that line, and we had to go down, and I just happened to catch a picture of that. I wanted to kind of document where it was, but that's Jeremy fixing that. We have a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of maintenance that goes with that. Next, please. And here is enemy number one. This is, of course, the goat head. And I would never mind, I would never care if any one of you on a pathway saw the semblance of a goat head. Give us a call, give us a text, get a hold of us. It seems like these guys can grow about 5 feet in one day. And if they get to this size, they're a beast. You have to pocket out with a shovel. And when you pick it up, all the seed heads drop off and it's a mess. We like to catch them when they're smaller. So we are very aggressive on our pathways in particular to try to get rid of this. Next, please. Some of the other things in operations. So Kyle just let me know that the Christmas tree this year is going to have about 3.5 miles of lights on it. And I think we finished today, but if not today, maybe tomorrow. It's about a 4-day gig anymore to get that done. Some of the things that stuck out to me when I started gathering some of this was 1,000 sprinkler heads within the system is what we purchased. And you got to assume that we replaced every one of them. So that's a lot. 8 acres of planter beds. That's a lot of weeds and a lot of spraying and a lot of hand work and that. And I think one big accomplishment, the 800 yards of playground bark. Jeremy did that with, I think 3 guys in about, it was 3 or 4 days, just knocked it out. I'm continue to be amazed at what some of these guys can knock out here. Next, please. Some of the other big ticket items, all the litter bags we go through, doggy stations, stringer line. The picture on my left, I'm hoping it's your left, kind of the shop looks a little bit of a mess now, but we pull all the string trimmers and blowers and rototillers and small stuff in, and everyone has gone through. And if the carb needs rebuilt, we do that, or we put a new shaft on it. And now we've started that, and we have a lot. We have a lot. If you look down at the bottom there, we replaced 120 swing shackles this year. Just swing seats alone, we had to around 15 is what our guess is. If you look at the amount of restrooms that my staff cleans every day, twice a day this time of year, within that, if you start adding commodes, there's a lot in there. Next, please. Some of our projects that we completed this year, Jeremy's built two sets of cornhole boards for games now. We painted all 52 restrooms. All the parks now have a charcoal barbecue in them. We finished that, I think it was this spring. One of the things we did, we converted all of our restroom floors from just pure paint to epoxy. It's a non-slip surface and quite a bit more expensive to get started with, but the longevity of the floors is years and years and years. We're not repainting the floors every year. Over on the right, this is I thought a good success story with Nampa Meridian Irrigation. So over at Rita Husky Park, that building is the pump station, and it has a filter in it, but it still just wasn't good enough. We actually, for 2 years in a row, we had to replace or clean out all 200 rotors in the park, and that's very time consuming. So we struck a deal with them. We put another filtration system on our main line there, and Jeremy's team put the irrigation part in, Phil's team put the fence around it. And the trust factor with Nampa Meridian was that we just did it and we graveled it, and they trusted us to do a good job. And I think we have a really good relationship with them. Next, please. Picnic tables. So we have about 140 of them out in the field, and each year everyone gets sanded down and painted. And we replaced about 80 boards this year. So they get some use. They get stacked. They get used as ramps. They get drug around. They end up in ponds. We have tried using different materials like recycled stuff. The tables get really heavy and the boards warp. Unfortunately, wood is what it is. And so they'll probably be wood tables for the foreseeable future. Next, please. A couple projects we did this year. Heroes Park, if anybody's noticed, there were grass strips in the islands. They were very hard to maintain. Breaking more tires off and wheels, and just kind of, it was very hard to keep them looking good. And so we cleaned it all out and we put rock in, and it's a decorative rock. It's a black and tan. I think it's a really good look. And this spring, when the plants come up, we'll put some more plants in so it looks a little more dressier than that. Renaissance Park, we did the same thing over on the west side of the park. The trees are getting so big. It's a significant amount of area, but the trees are getting so big, and the needles and the acidic nature that comes under pine trees, and then just trying to mow under them. And so instead of limbing them up and making them look goofy, we just kind of bit the bullet on that. And I hope everybody likes the way that looks. Next, please. A couple other projects I think of note. We actually ended, I think it's been, let's say it's been 5 or 6, maybe at least years that we've been converting all parks, all lights to LED. Just take Tully, for instance, it's one of the first ones we did. You can look at what the cost was, an immediate rebate, and the annual savings. It's a really good success story of how much money we're saving just in the power, let alone we were replacing in the park system, I got to say 3 to 5 parking lot lights a month. LEDs virtually, you just don't replace them. Another success story, I think, was converting our Scada system for the irrigation from analog phone lines, probably 24, 25 of them. And we went to cellular a few years ago, and we recently just had to upgrade to 4G, and we're saving about $10,560 a year with that. Next, please. Some other projects we've been in, I think many of you know the Kleiner Story Book Walk, the exercise equipment. We mounted that equipment. Generations Plaza, worked with the water department, really nice to work with them. They kind of helped us get to a newer generation of water. Think of the right term. We're not using chlorine and acid like we were. We are using chlorine, but it's just a new method of doing it. And they helped us convert that over. They had some used materials that they had pulled from another place. I don't want to say it's too used. It's still state-of-the-art stuff, but really thankful for them. And that's really helped us on that. Bear Creek got some new dugout roofs. Oh, can I go back? And then a couple of big parks are getting security camera upgrades, and just don't know if you guys knew we built the sneeze guards and ultraviolet light boxes for all around the city. Next, please. So one of the things I kind of wanted to tout out is some of the new stuff on the market, these multifunction small frame tractors. We're able to buy attachments for them at a greater reduced price and not have as many pieces of equipment. The tool cat up above, that we got one like that when we purchased, when we acquired Fuller Park, and it has about 40 different attachments. So when you go from a snow machine to a loader to, oh my gosh, it has a trencher attachment. You don't have to buy those pieces of equipment for $15,000, $16,000. You can buy an attachment for $4,000 or $5,000. Same thing with the Ventrax below. We have 2 of those. And as far as snow hitting us again sometime, we're completely ready to go. We have cabs for the Ventrax. They can run 24/7. We can run in shifts. Snowmageddon, it hit that one year. We got kind of caught behind, and we were having to lift out snow that was already 2 to 3 feet tall. That won't happen again. We'll be ready to go. Next, please. Leaf pickup, mulching, sometimes we just can't keep up. and it got to be such a big animal. We kind of decided what's our next step. This is just kind of a idea of, or a picture of the way we were doing it. We were raking into tarps, lifting it up on the trailer, hauling the trailer off, and it would take weeks to get through all the leaves throughout the city. You just can't keep up with mulching anymore. The size of the parks, the size of the trees. Next, please. So we used the Ventrax. We didn't have to buy a new machine. I was able to get a couple blowers at a really nice price. And so now instead of 7 to 8 people, maybe more, going around raking leaves and messing with it, I could send a crew of 2 to 3. One guy's on that Ventrac blowing the leaves into a corner. The other guy uses the truck and the vac, and he vacs it up, and away we go. And we knock the labor burden and the amount of time as we can get it off the ground faster. And I think we can get fewer comments about the leaves being on the ground. So I think these are great additions to what we've done. Next, please. Just a sneak peek into the places that we do snow removal for the city. We have 4 crews and 4 teams, if you will, 4 routes, and they all have their primary route that everything you see on top is we call priority 1. And that's pretty much a 0 tolerance for ice and snow. Second call out, you can see down below, down in the bottom right-hand corner, if we were ever to get into a situation again where we have a snow load that the school district is going to call on us for assistance, we worked with fire department and GIS, and we have maps and main safe routes to school for the kids. And that we would jump on that route. And then we've estimated that if we can't quite keep up, we would rent a couple little mini skids, and we've identified trucks that we would use to pull them. Next, please. Oh, that was fast. I'm almost done. So when Steve first asked me for a list of accomplishments for the year, I went through my staff and said, "Hey, help me out here. What's your accomplishments for the year?" And I got a lot of good technical stuff, a lot of these projects, a lot of stuff, some stuff I didn't realize some guys had done. And I was talking to Kevin, and we have a lot of good conversations. And I asked him, so what's our biggest, what do you think's our biggest accomplishment this year? And he was sitting here looking, he goes, we kept the parks open. You know, during COVID, during all that just minutia that's happened to all of us this year, these guys stayed here. They worked every day. They went out to the parks. They kept them open. They cleaned the bathrooms. They mowed the grass. Not a complaint. They kept their heads down and they knocked it out. And I thought that was amazing. I just like to give such kudos to this staff that it's a really good team of guys. With that, I am done.
Mr. Norberg, excuse me, thank you for your update and your presentation, and thank you for the staff. I see Deb pretty often when I take my dogs to the dog park. You know, a huge, I mean, the word there is not an amount of gratitude that is you know, enough to, you know, thank our staff for everything that you guys do and for the maintenance of our parks. Before I ask my questions to you, I'd like to see and open the floor to any commissioners who may have any questions for you on your presentation. Do we have any questions from the commission?
Mr. President?
Yes, Commissioner Bobo.
I don't have a question. I just had a comment that I just wanted to compliment how great you have taken care of the parks during this time, as many families have been, you know, stuck inside. It's nice to have a place that you can go to with a family and just be socially distant, enjoy the outdoors, and still have a beautiful place to play in when, you know, times are tough and our recreation options are quite limited this last summer. But it's been really nice to be able to be a frequent user of the parks and have a wonderful time.
Well,
you guys have done a great job.
Thank you. And I you know, I also have to thank my leadership that gives me resources and the backing. It very much appreciated.
Thank you, so much, Commissioner Bobo. Any further questions from, excuse me, any other members of the commission? Roger, a couple questions that I have. The first is a quick one, and it's something that I presented to former Mayor Tammy and our esteemed vice president of the commission, who was present at the time of the commission when I interviewed for the commission, and it was regarding the doggy bags at Story Bark Park. This last weekend, when I took my dogs, I noticed that the yellow bags were still present. There have been times when, they've run out that we replaced them with the original black doggy bags that were there prior to the change. However, I noticed that this weekend, the new yellow bags, where about a couple weeks ago, a month ago, they had the two handles. Now they've been replaced with something that's more similar to the grocery bag style, where you tug and pull and rip off. So I just wanted to ask first, is that going to be a new permanent installment of how the bags are going to be? Or are we going back to having at some point the two-handled doggy bags simply out of convenience? Much like the black bags, these yellow bags, when they are in that grocery style wrap and you have to, kind of rip and pull, they're hard to get open. You got to lick your fingers if you're the type of person that does that to pop them open, or, sometimes they can get stuck together. And the thing that I enjoyed most about the two-handled doggy bag is, you grab it, you pull it, it was easily opened, you flip it upside down and you do what you got to do. You tie it in a knot, toss it in the trash. So that's my first question to you, and I'll let you respond, and then I'll follow up with my second one.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. Great question. So 225,000 doggy bags a year is 225. I think that's right. And they're, I think, like 2 cents a piece. I'm going to miss the numbers here, but we're spending around $10,000 to $11,000 a year on doggy bags, and looking for any price cut measure we can get, and we put them out to bid. It's a big enough number that we put it out to bid. We went with those. Saves. I can't remember what the savings was, but we saved some, and we looked at them and went, they're not as fun. They're not as good. We actually had to remake the little doggy, the boxes, so that the rollers would work, because they used to be the hang up thing.
Right.
And I think this might be our third generation of doggy bags. If this is something that is strongly, cost is not an issue, and it's deemed that we want to go back to those, we can go back to those. It was simply a cost cutting, trying to save the budget. It staggers me sometimes how much money we spend on that. But for another couple $1,000, the math is escaping me, but if that's strongly felt, we can go back to those.
Sure. And Roger, the reason I bring that up is, again, I was at the dog park this weekend, and as humans, we are sometimes creatures of convenience. And when something becomes inconvenient, then people tend to not do it. And I noticed that with the new bags, people were trying to fiddle with opening them sometimes, and at some point they would rip the bag and they'd just toss it in the trash and leave the dog waste where it lies. So, and then that causes the germs and the, spread of bacteria and just
Sure.
having dog waste at the park that isn't picked up. So, it was an observation that I wanted to make, and I'm glad that you mentioned it in your presentation. I appreciate your answer. So I guess to me, whatever style bag is there personally doesn't make a difference, but as someone who is a patron of the dog parks, and an observer of what our patrons and our community members do when they're at the dog park, that was an observation I wanted to bring forward to you, and of course to you, Steve, as well, because as our director, it's something that I want to make sure you were aware of. And then lastly, Roger, on the goat head matter, my first question, and I think I may have asked this in the past, but I just wanted to confirm, first, are goat heads indigenous to Idaho? And then second, in your experience, and Steve, maybe you can plug in some of your comments being a member of the Idaho Parks, or the head of the Idaho Parks and Recreation as president. Has there been, or is there an action item or a plan, whether it's incremental, whether it's short-term, long-term, to finally eradicate the goat head plant out of Idaho completely? Is it more, have we seen that if it's more prevalent and present in Ada County and not so much, let's say, in Madison County or Latah County or Kootenai County, or is it kind of a widespread creature? And have there been any plans either at the local, state level? I know at one point a former state legislator who was an avid bicyclist was attempting to get something done, but that kind of died there. And so I wanted to hear what your thoughts were, Roger, and Steve, if you wanted to plug in anything on behalf of IRPA, we'd love to hear that as well. Sure.
Yeah, no, the goat head is actually native to the Mediterranean area. You kind of think about the first guy that stepped on one and stuck it in his boot and came over on a boat, kind of maybe wish he'd make a different decision or something. It's interesting. The plant itself is actually kind of a weak plant, if you will. It doesn't compete well with other plants. That's why on our pathways, we kind of let the cheatgrass grow, which is another invasive species that came from elsewhere. But trying to plant native grasses on the pathways doesn't. So the goat head itself, but it's mischievous in that it doesn't germinate until about mid-June. And to try to use pre-emergence to control it doesn't work, because pre-emergence need to stay a little damp, a little wet in order to stay active. You try to put something down, particularly granular, you put it down and it doesn't rain, you've just wasted money. So they come along right about the time our spring rains, the weather temperature warms up to ground temperature, I don't know. Mike knows these plants better than I do, but I'm gonna say 55, 60 degrees ground temperatures hit, and that's when they take off. They're easy to spray when they're small. You catch them if you're on top of them, but I don't think there's gonna be, they're here. There's no way to eradicate. I know they don't do well at elevations above where we're at. I don't know what that elevation is, but you go up to Cascade, they don't have them. Maybe lower, down around 10 or something, but I don't see them. But that's 55, something like that. I don't see them in Horseshoe Bend. Of course, I don't spend much time in the valley, but yeah, they're here to stay. The plant itself is rather easy to kill, but those stupid, when they get to a certain size, especially when they dry out, you've probably done that. You try to pick up when those buttons drop off. There's just no way to get them. Our best thing, and it's going to, so one plant drops thousands of seeds, and our best bet for us is to spray them quick. We start about the first week of June, we're on high alert, and we start getting after them. They are nasty, and sometimes, like I said, they can grow a foot or better in a day and get behind you. That's why the best thing we can do is get public input, and we don't mind it. If they see a goat head plant or you see something somewhere that's on the pathway, we'll go get it, because that one goat head plant will become 1,000 or a patch of goat heads before you know it. And my guys, I literally have hauled truckloads of those out of places that like the front of my shop out here. I wasn't paying attention and it got away from me. We literally hauled, not a truckload, but it was a considerable amount out, and they just, the the buttons just fall off. I eradicate there, you know, in IPM, integrated pest management, there really is no, these things get in here, there's no eradication. It's control the best you can. That they're kind of here to stay, I think.
I don't think I have anything to add. I think that was a pretty good summary. So thank you, Roger.
Awesome. Thank you, Roger, and thank you, Steve. I mean, I can only see goat heads kind of like candy for a dentist. It keeps them up and running in business, and I'm sure goat heads keep bike shops and bike accessory shops up and running and in business.
Yeah.
As people, you know, try to find new ways to repair their tires. Wonderful. Roger, thank you so much for your update. If there are no further questions from the commission, we hope to see you back on this commission here soon.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. All righty, our next item on our agenda is going to be our Parks and Recs Department volunteer program update by our very own Chelsea Cantrell. Chelsea is our volunteer program coordinator. Chelsea, welcome back to the commission, and the floor is yours.
You're muted on my end.
Who's muted?
There we go. Well, that was fun.
There you are.
So thanks for having me tonight. I'm happy to be here. I want to welcome Commissioner Kang and Shore. It's nice to meet you virtually. I'm excited when we'll be able to meet you in person. I want to make sure everyone can see the presentation on the side. Yeah. Okay. So I started with a quote just because I feel like it really does represent our volunteers. It says, everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. You don't have to know the second theory or thermodynamics and physics to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. Martin Luther King. So with that, let me see if it'll pull up my notes. And if you can just go back to slide 1 for just a second. So this quote really hits home for City of Meridian. You know, we have a wide diversity of volunteers, young, old, different backgrounds, ethnicities, different political views, social statuses. I see everyone. And it's wonderful. I mean, we had an 11-year-old boy come out and actually help us this summer. And during a typical year, we have several elderly volunteers that you'll see every day in City Hall. And just all these people have servant hearts and find time to give back to our community. And they're one of the reasons that Meridian is so great. Since it's been over a year since I presented last, I thought I'd take some time to kind of show you the bright spots we've had in the last 12 months. Rachel, if you can go to the next slide. So this is last year's Christmas kickoff. We started with our Holiday Classic Volleyball Tournament. And I know Shelly mentioned this year's, but I'm kind of taking it back a year since it's been a while since I've seen you. But we started with the volunteers actually coming out and helping at the volleyball tournament. A lot of them baked goods that we had available for donations. And again, this money is to raise money for children at the Head Start program for their Christmas presents. And the bake sale actually raised over $350 to help put towards that. It's the first time we've had the bake sale. So that was extremely successful. Rachel, next slide. Okay, so after all the money was raised, our staff and volunteers went to Walmart and purchased gifts for 63 kids. This was my first year doing it, and it was a task. It was a lot of gifts. Once we gathered up all the gifts and we separated them, we had a volunteer lunch party along with a wrapping party, and that was really fun. We had we had about 23 volunteers come in, and these are more of our regular City Hall volunteers that are in City Hall every day. So they came in, we had lunch, we played Christmas music, and then we wrapped 320 gifts in right under 2 hours. So it relieves so much stress. In the past, the present wrapping process would take 2 weeks and take up a ton of space. We had to have those presents stored. So this made it really easy. We were able to get it done in a day, and then we actually delivered them. We stacked them all up and then delivered them the next week. So it was a lot of work for one day, but well worth it. And then after all the presents were done, we started on our Santa letters, and we had 13 volunteers last year respond to 961 letters that were written to Santa. And this accounted for about 32 hours of volunteer work. So that was a huge help. This year, unfortunately, due to COVID, staff is doing it, which is very fun, but we'll definitely miss our volunteers. And Rachel, next slide. Next, we had the Christmas Winterland Festival, and we had hundreds of kids come out to enjoy the day. And we were blessed with 31 volunteers donating 111 hours to run activities and do crafts. And they just made the day very enjoyable for all the kids. And then our biggest event of the year was our Meridian Winter Lights and Tree Lighting. We had 356 hours of service there. 114 volunteers came out to ensure the event was safe, fun, and successful. And it really was a great time. It was something like I'd never seen before. It was my first year doing that, and the amount of people that got involved was just amazing. Okay, and Rachel, next slide. Oh, there we go. Okay, and then COVID happened. Unfortunately, we had to send our volunteers home, especially our volunteers that were at City Hall and out in the parks, as most of those volunteers are elderly and in that high-risk categories. One thing that was wonderful about our volunteers is they kept in such close contact. They really wanted to be back at City Hall and in the parks, but they also understood that for their safety, we were going to take this break. But everyone is still checking in and is just really eager to get back. In June, we allowed limited service, community service projects to resume as long as social distancing was possible, and we tried to make it for low-risk volunteers. Currently, our volunteer services are still suspended in City Hall and in the parks, which by this time of the year anyways, our volunteers are done out there. Next slide. So the flower planting project, this is the first project that we were able to safely host following the start of the pandemic. I was actually on maternity leave during this event, but Renee helped get volunteers assigned to different parks and get the flowers planted. Everything ran smoothly, and it was social distancing at its finest. Next slide. Right when I came back from maternity leave, Renee had coordinated a huge project out at the split corridor in Meridian, just north of the freeway. It was an interesting project because it was going to require a lot of people, and we were kind of right in the middle of COVID. But she found a group that they all worked together. So we were able to get it approved and move forward with this project. And they were placing a bunch of bark mulch, fresh bark mulch in the plant beds around the businesses right there at the corridor. It had to be done in one day though. So we had to have the whole group out there and get it done because the bark was all dropped off in the parking lots of those businesses. It did take 41 men and 82 hours of volunteer services to complete. For those of you that are number people, the value on this would have been $2,085.26 if we had to pay staff to do that. So that was a huge savings for the city to get volunteers out there to do that as well. Next slide. Oh, there we go. We also placed fresh bark in tree wells at the Kleiner Park Arboretum and 3 of the City of Meridian Fire Station yards. We had several volunteers come out. This was a span of different days, but a total of 88 hours was provided in volunteer services. So again, that's another $2,237. That was the value of their service hours. Last month was fun because we have all those big snowflakes that have to get put up in downtown Meridian. But the thing we've been seeing is a lot of the bulbs were dying out. And over the years, we've replaced 1 or 2 bulbs in these snowflakes, but we decided it was time to just replace all the bulbs so that each bulb shines as bright as the other one. So we had 26 volunteers come in. We had tons of donuts, lots of music. And it was funny because they were Halloween donuts, but we had Christmas carols playing in the background. And we removed all the bulbs and replaced them all. It was a project. At first, I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal, but it took 3 hours, 26 volunteers, and a lot of patience. Some of the time when you were screwing in those bulbs and you'd go test it, they still wouldn't work. But we got it done, and I'm excited to see them up around town this year. Our Seniors of the Year Award. This year I made a couple nominations to our mayor's office for Seniors of the Year, and I was really excited to find out 2 of my nominations were actually voted Seniors of the Year. Eva Bailey, she is one of our extraordinary volunteers. She volunteers at the front desk in City Hall. She's in the mayor's office. She does an amazing job with our 3rd graders, and when we host the 3rd grade tours at City Hall. She volunteers for all of the Christmas projects, and she has yet to turn me down when I offer a new volunteer opportunity. I'm sure many of you know her, but she has so much energy and enthusiasm and brings a smile to everyone's face, and we are so blessed to have her volunteering for us. Then we have Bill. He was also nominated for Senior of the Year. He is a big man with an even bigger personality. He always says he's shy, but he'll be the first person to greet you when you walk through the front doors. So I'm sure most of you have met him as well. He does, on a regular year, he volunteers 2 days a week at City Hall at the front desk and 2 days as a park ambassador at Kleiner Park. He also loves to do events, especially trunk or treat, and he keeps the volunteer car clean and with a full tank of gas at all times.
So sorry.
Okay. And sorry, the slide went off. There we go. Lastly, I just want to thank you all for your volunteer services. I don't include the commission hours in my volunteer hours, but you guys are donating a lot of your time, and that's so much appreciated. This year's been a difficult year for volunteers. It's been strange. We haven't been able to do our regular volunteer program, but still from January to the end of October, we still had 1,197 hours. That's a value of $30,439. Our volunteers really are the heart of the city and inspire many of us. I am pleased that our volunteers are being recognized as Seniors of the Year, and I cannot wait till we can get them back in the building. I'm happy that this month we are able to get some of our senior and high-risk volunteers involved with wrapping Christmas presents for the Head Start program. But I know a lot of them are really antsy just to get back into the building. And once we can bring them back safely, we will. And with that, I am open to questions.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. And thank you to all our volunteers. We're glad that we're able to keep them safe during this during these times of COVID-19. And I'd like to open up the floor to any commissioner who has any questions for Chelsea. Hearing none. Chelsea, thank you so much again for your update, and please extend a very warm thank you to all our volunteers for the City of Meridian.
Will do.
Thank you. Perfect. Next item is our Lakeview Golf Course update by Mr. Mike Barton. For our new commissioners, Mr. Barton is our Parks Superintendent. Mike, the floor is yours. Welcome to the commission meeting tonight.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the commission. We'll just take a second to get set up here. Rachel, is that PowerPoint brought up?
It's not in presentation mode yet.
How's that?
It is, I don't know what kind of mode it is, but it's not the mode that we're used to.
It's in presenter mode, Mike.
How's that?
Perfect.
Yeah. Perfect.
Awesome. Okay, just had to get it to the right screen. Yeah, thanks for your patience. So wanted to talk to you this evening about Lakeview Golf Course. We were in front of the commission. I think it's been some months now, late spring, maybe early summer, about the possibility of the current operator out there transitioning out of the business. So want to give you an update on some of the history, and especially for our new commissioners, Camden, Albert, and Autumn, welcome, and wanted to bring you up to speed and see what questions you might have. So we really want to use this as information to bring you up to date on where things are, and then also encourage as many questions as you have. So some of the key personnel. So the city has, Ward has purchased the assets of the golf course, which the city owns the property. Now Ward owns the assets. Some of the key personnel that have been involved in this transition, of course, Steve and myself. I want to recognize Sean Wardle as the board president of the Western Ada Recreation District. The staff at Lakeview Golf Club have been fantastic. Ryan Roberts, the director of golf, he's kind of the director of golf, general manager. Rich Rush is the superintendent in charge of grounds. And then we've hired a management company. We've talked all along about kind of our preferred, at least short-term management preference of going to a golf management company for that professional expertise. And we have an agreement with Kemper Sports Management to provide those services. So another name that's not on here that I wanted to recognize is Emily Kane. And throughout the whole process, obviously you can't do this without a lot of agreements and negotiations, back and forth between different attorneys. And Emily has been just a huge help. Whenever there was a snag that came up, and it was always, hey, Emily, how do we, what do we do here and what do we do there? And just, I just wanted to recognize the amount of hours that she's put in and just the huge, huge help. So some of the history behind it, like I went into a little bit. So the city has owned the property that the golf course is on since 1978. The daily business and operations and the maintenance have been managed by a series of local tenants over the years. For the past 15 years, the golf course has been managed by Lakeview investors. And over those years, they've made significant improvements to the course. They've built the clubhouse that you see there today. It has a full service food and beverage, pro shop. There's a cart, kind of a cart barn or cart storage area underneath it. It's actually a 2-story building. It looks like a 1-story building, but the whole underneath is carts and apparatus for the building. There's storage underneath for 54 carts, so you can just kind of get the size of that. And they're all electric, so they all plug in downstairs. So in addition to that, the current operator or the operators installed a maintenance shop that's out there today. So in 2020, Lakeview investors decided to transition out of the business. And the Western Ada Recreation District and the city partnered to bring the purchase of the assets and all of the assets of the course into public ownership. And why is that important? And it's really important because over the years there has been, although the operator has did some major capital improvement projects, there's also been some deferred maintenance investment or capital investment. And So now that the course is into public ownership, we can start to catch up on some of that deferred capital. So the agreement is that the Western Ada Recreation District owns the assets. We own the property. All of the assets will transfer to the city 3 years from now. The Parks and Recreation Department has an agreement to manage the course for that period of time with Ward. So what we've chosen to do, at least in the short term, is to, like I said, is to hire a golf course management company. The name of that company is Kemper Sports. They are, they manage golf courses across the country. They have 130 municipal courses for cities, counties, municipalities, just like ours. That's kind of their bread and butter. That's what they do. They do it well. They know the business. They know the operation. This is their first course in Idaho, but they are close by. They're in Oregon and Washington. They've got a few courses in California. One of their signature courses is Chambers Bay, which is on the Oregon coast, and they've actually hosted PGA tournaments over there. So just to give you an idea of some of their capabilities. So the status of the operations today, the transition was pretty seamless. All of the existing staff will remain as employees of Kemper Sports. We didn't want to have anybody displaced during this change. So all those employees are now with Kemper Sports. In fact, some of the benefit, some of the pluses to that, Kemper Sports offers a benefit package to those employees with a 75% healthcare benefit and paid sick, paid vacation. Where this staff, and this is for full-time staff, this staff didn't have that in the past. The days and hours of operation aren't going to change. There's no changes to the fees. The food and beverage side, there's no changes. There is a little bit of gap in liquor service. The liquor license had to be, it's a specialty license that goes with the property, not the operator. So that current license had to be surrendered when the asset purchase closed on the 9th. We were ready on the 10th with an application, and we turned that application into the state. We actually, as of this morning, we thought that it was going to take 30 to 45 days. We got word from the state that it was approved. Now we're down to the county and city level for approval. So we expect that to come pretty soon. So all in all, pretty seamless. At least in the short term, we want to improve the customer's experience by following our care values of customer service, excellence, respect, and accountability. So next steps. We will be undertaking a couple of studies. One of the studies will be a master plan. And the master plan we see as a visioning document that will guide us to, what is the best long-term operating model for the course? We want to maximize the financial performance and viability. We also want to provide excellent customer service. We want to take a good look at what capital needs are there and that may have been deferred over the years. Are there any new revenue opportunities? We will be contracting with the National Golf Foundation to complete this study. And one of the things that we talked a lot about when they were developing a scope of services is to provide us and anticipate a very robust public outreach process. We want to involve as many citizens as we can. We want to involve the golf course patrons, the men's and women's associations, of course, the Parks and Recreation Commission. We want to also heavily involve the golf course focus group and our city council. So there will be much more coming to the commission once we kick off that study and start to dig into some of the nuts and bolts of the golf course and what the best way to operate it is and all those other things that I mentioned. In addition to that, there's been a lot of talk over the years about the condition of the irrigation system. And so we are, independently of the master plan, performing an irrigation audit that will look at all the things that are in that list right there and determine, exactly what state is it in, and is it a replacement or, are we to heavy maintenance or full replacement, or, we know that there's a number of dilapidated aspects of it. And so we're prepared to identify what those are and identify what those costs might be. So after those are done, with the help of everybody, with the help of our commissions and council and citizen groups, we want to bring forward and develop a plan for implementation of both the operating model and any capital improvements that are necessary. So just to, again, highlight some of our partners: Kemper Sports, National Golf Foundation, Lakeview Golf Club, the city and the city leadership, Western Ada Recreation District. We have SPF Water Engineering and the Bear Design Group. They are involved in our irrigation audit. So we've put contact information out to the public, myself and Ryan Roberts, who is the director of golf there, to really solicit any feedback or any specific questions that people have. There may be a ton out there. I just encourage you that if there are questions that maybe we didn't cover here or you're not comfortable answering, if you're approached, please direct those questions to me. I would be more than happy to answer them. And with that, I will sit for questions.
Thank you so much, Mike. Do we have any questions for Mike from members of the commission?
Mr. President?
Yes, Commissioner Hyde.
I don't have any questions. I just want to thank him because I'm an avid golfer and I'm looking forward to playing on this course once it gets back up and running. And thank you. I'm really excited.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Hyde, and I echo that. As an avid golfer myself, I will admit I'm a little crushed that I did not get out onto the courses this year, but I will. I'll take a mulligan and say that it was coronavirus's fault that I did not make it out onto the course this year, and I'm looking forward to tearing up the course as soon as it's ready to go.
Dom, I'm not sure. COVID's an excuse not to golf. There's 110 acres there, so plenty of opportunities for social distancing.
I'm busted, and no, you're right. I'm looking forward to next season. That's for sure.
Awesome.
Well, if there are no other questions for Mike by any members of the commission, we will.
Mr. President, can you hear me?
Commissioner
Councilman
Hoagland.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to interject a couple things here. I just want to give kudos to Steve and Mike and Emily Kane of the legal department. When this came about early this year, you can imagine Steve's surprise when we say, hey, how would you like to manage a golf course in about 6 months? And for those of you on the commission that know Steve well, he wants to do things right and he wants to be thoroughly prepared. And there were a lot of unknowns in this thing. And I just want to say this staff led by Steve and Mike have done an outstanding job. This was not an easy task. There were so many questions. I know they went out and they started talking to other municipalities about their courses, our neighbors on each side of us, other communities. How do you do this? What's good? What's bad? It was a quick learning curve, and they managed to pull this off very smoothly. So I just wanted to give them a shout out because it was done very, very well, and we greatly appreciate it. The community appreciates it, and it's going to be a wonderful asset as they and the commission really wrap your arms around this and decide what the future of Lakeview Golf Course looks like. So thanks to everyone there.
Thank you, Councilman Hoagland. We appreciate it. And we appreciate your work on the commission and being one of our voices to the council, excuse me. With that, Mike, thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing your staff report here coming up soon. We don't have any workshops, so as I mentioned, we'll move on to our last item of the evening, our staff reports from our Parks and Rec staff. Steve, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've heard some great updates tonight, so I'll be relatively brief. I think the main update I want to give you is in our most recent adaptations related to COVID, with the recent spikes in numbers and the most recent governor's order rolling us back to stage 2. We did take some further measures end of day last Friday going into the weekend. Beginning Monday, just a couple days ago this week, City Hall here where we are is currently open to the public we're still in business, but the doors are closed and we do things by appointment only. So we have a lot of staff working remotely that aren't coming into City Hall. We are still very much conducting city business, as you see here tonight, but we're doing that by appointment. The home court is currently closed until further notice, but our parks remain open. As Roger kind of concluded with his remarks, we know that the ability to get out, get fresh air, go for a walk, use the pathways, use the parks remains a very important component to mental health as well as physical health. So parks remain open, continue the cleaning protocols in the restrooms, and we have canceled our sports programs until further notice. And classes are kind of a mix. There are some classes that we are continuing to be able to hold because they're able to meet the protocols, but others we have canceled. And our mantra, quite frankly, is safety first, and that we also want to do everything we can within whatever the current order is. So you saw in the updates tonight from Roger and Chelsea a good snapshot that all year long we have continued to do what we can, and we will continue to do what we can. And we have adapted our Christmas events to work in the current situation, and we look forward to doing what we can there as well. With that, I think I will end my comments. I do want to say I appreciate the updates on the many maintenance activities, the volunteer activities that have been able to happen, Mike's work on Lakeview that he's been able to share. I don't know if any of you were able to join the town hall that we had over the noon hour today, but we had a great town hall with many citizens online and asking questions there as well. So with that, I'll stop there and see if there's any questions.
Thank you, Steve. Do we have any questions for Steve on his staff update?
Mr. President, I have a
Commissioner
question
West.
for Director Sidaway. So with everything going on, I know there's a lot of people that are worried about job security and it's impacting morale. How is the Parks Department, would you say, handling the situation with COVID and the impacts given they're not in the office? Is that going fairly well, or?
Oh, it's going great, actually. People are remote, but they're still very much working. We have projects that we're able to send home with folks. We've had to reassign a few folks, but yeah, everyone's position is still secure with us.
And you feel like the morale is high still, it sounds like, so everything's.
Yeah, good question. You know, certainly there are concerns, but I would say morale is high. You know, Garrett can give more of that update when we go to him. The park staff are working hard. It's mostly the recreation staff under Garrett that are in the more isolated situations of being remote, but they've implemented multiple times a week, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They get on staff update Zoom calls together so that they still are able to interact, share thoughts, get information from one another. Of course, they can reach out at any time, but there's something about the active interaction like this that they all appreciate. Shelly, who you heard from earlier tonight on the event update, sent me an image that she took during their call today, with everyone laughing and smiling, and she sent it to me and said, "I thought this might do your heart some good." And I texted her back and said, "Thank you. It did do my heart some good to see so many people smiling and laughing on a Zoom call much like this."
Okay, great. Thank you for that feedback.
Thank you, Commissioner West. Do we have any further questions for Steve on his update? Hearing none, do we want to do Garrett, Kim, who would like to go first on their staff update?
I can jump in since Steve just kind of mentioned that. I can follow up with that and follow up with Commissioner West's comment there, if Mr. President, if you don't mind. Really, the people that are working remote are still very busy in a sense. You wouldn't really think so. You'd think the winter, the recreation stuff would slow down, but to be honest, there really isn't a slow period anymore. So a lot of the remote workers, or the majority of the rec department is remote. We're still getting phone calls asking about parks, asking about what's going on in the community, what recreation programs we do have. They have questions. They're still returning a lot of the recreation emails that come in throughout the day. They've got a lot of holiday projects going on right now when it comes to wrapping gifts or getting the Christmas in a bag stuff ready to go. They're helping organize Santa letters so that Santa can respond to them. They're doing all kinds of that stuff. They're also running reports and gathering data so we have all that information. That's typically what we do in the winter when it does, if you want to say slow down. There's still a lot of smaller projects that kind of get put on the back burner throughout the summer when we're slammed busy, that we're able to catch up. So a lot of them are doing those projects. And honestly, I would think that morale is up. And when we do have some of those meetings, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, there is a lot of camaraderie. People are still in good moods. They're asking what they got going on the weekends, and Kim's on those as well, so she can vouch for some of that. But it's good conversation. We're busy. We get a lot of stuff work done, but the morale's good. The morale is really good. With that, moving on to the recreation stuff that we have going on. Shelly already kind of mentioned a lot of it, and so did Steve, regarding sports and other programs and classes and events and things. But a lot of the holiday stuff's going on. A lot of the Christmas, and the wrapping presents, purchasing the gifts, getting them to the Head Start program. Those types of things are happening, and a lot of those things are happening at home as well. So Shelly also mentioned with the events, the Zoom with Santa, the Christmas in a bag, Santa letters, gift wrapping, those types of things. Steve did mention that we did end up closing home court this last Friday because of the COVID spike. And right now, those staff are going to get reassigned potentially to parks. We also have some other projects for them to do to stay busy during their normal work hours. Arts and culture. Audrey's been working pretty hard on getting the RFPs and stuff like that regarding those mural projects. She's got 3 of them out. She's got actually got 3 or 4 responses this week as well. So she's excited about that and reviewing all those. She's also got a lot of different subject committees going on with the Historic Preservation Commission as well as the Meridian Arts Commission. So she's staying quite busy with that stuff. With that, a lot of the stuff that I've been working on with Emily Kane and things. So Emily's obviously pretty busy with just the rec department, but I'm sure she sees my phone number and it's like, oh no, what's Garrett on again? But either way, been working on a lot of the concession stands, the Kleiner Park concessions. RFP is going to be going out here soon. We've had the same concessionaire there for 3 years. It's time to re-up that concessions agreement. So we're hoping they'll come back. The Meridian Main Street Market, that contract was up as well. So we're working on redoing that contract. And we're hoping to have that finalized here in the next month or so, or this winter. A lot of the field applications are coming in for next year. So the 2021 season, we sent out field applications to all the different user groups that use our park facilities. And we got to plan those now so that each of those organizations know what fields they have, how many teams they can take and where they can play their games and so on. So as Meridian grows, the demand for fields gets bigger. So Skylar Cook and I are the ones that are going through and sorting those out and divvying up the field space based on history, based on our programs, and trying to put those puzzle pieces together so all these user groups that use our facilities can use the space for their games or practices. One more thing with sports, our volleyball and flag football programs, the fall leagues were actually are canceled. The next volleyball league, the winter volleyball league, we're getting ready to start, or we're hoping to start here soon, as well as the adult basketball league, is being postponed. We're targeting January start time, but it all really depends on what the COVID numbers are, what orders, and what stages we're in. So just so you guys know, we do work hand in hand with the Central District Health Department on all of our programs. Steve kind of mentioned some of our classes are going and some aren't. We do want to be a good partner with Central District Health and make sure that we're abiding by all the rules that they have in place, and to keep our community safe. So sure, we want to run programs, we want to do it the right way, in the safe way for our community. So with that, I will stand for questions.
Thank you so much, Garrett. And thank you for everything you've been doing so far to, to accommodate for everything that we're going through right now as a community, as a nation, as a society. Do we have any questions for Garrett on his update from members of the commission? Hearing none. Garrett, thank you again so much, and we look forward to having you back soon.
Thank you, guys.
Take care. All righty. Kim, would you like to present your update for tonight? For our new commissioners, Kim is our Pathways Director, correct?
Pathways Project Manager.
Project Management, Pathways Project Management. I bumped you up there.
Yeah.
Kim, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hello, commissioners, Councilman Hoagland. Welcome, new commissioners. I know we're not in person together, but it's kind of exciting to think of new people and new energy when that can happen. So I'm glad to see some new faces. Last month, I gave a pretty comprehensive construction update to the commission on various pathways projects that are close to being done or in various stages of completion. And that is something, just for the sake of new commissioners, I could forward a little bit after the fact if that might be of interest, or you could check out on the last agenda items. So we have been focused on a number of projects along the 5 Mile Pathway. It's one of our priority pathways within the system. It runs from really Eagle Road and the interstate, potentially one day all the way out to the Oaks and the new high school. So along the way, there's some gaps in connectivity, and we have projects going construction-wise at Fairview Avenue. Fairview Avenue We're just trying to create a safer pedestrian space between Lakes Place, essentially between Meridian and Locust Grove. But it's a short connection on Lakes Place. We are moving power poles. Those are relocated. Utility work is, when I was out there the other day, it was happening. So we had to move some infrastructure out of the way in order to have a clear alignment, and it's pretty close to clear, and our contractor will be out there next week to get started in what work he can, weather permitting. The same contractor is out at our 10-mile trail hub on 5 Mile Creek this week, and I was just out there on Monday taking pictures of new concrete. So parking lot is done, as I showed you last time, and the site's really starting to take shape, and it's looking exciting. So that's our first trailhead on the system, and Mike helped get a bid out for a landscape contractor. So we have them set, ready to go as soon as concrete's done and weather permits in the spring. We're also coordinating with Audrey on some public art, 1 or 2 pieces to go at the trailhead. So that'll be a really cool project. It's kind of like a little park. It's just very pathways oriented. Otherwise, those of you who have been here will remember that we have our list of, we called it our Dirty Dozen Pathways projects to enhance connectivity along the system. We're now up to 13 or 14 projects. So we put a request for qualifications out to pathway design consultants who could offer a very comprehensive planning range of services, from helping us acquire easements to engineering the project to doing conceptual design. So we do have 3 teams that have been selected, and we kicked off 13 projects amongst 3 teams. It was, well, I guess it was about this time last month and moving forward. So we're working on defining fees and scopes of work, and those are coming back to us. So we're just getting ready to really charge ahead, turn them loose on conceptual design so that we can see if these projects are a go, see what resources additionally we might need to ask for, and how we can prioritize those. So, and I did update the map of those projects, so that's something I can make available to you as well if you're curious as to where they are or how they're looking now. We're grateful. Mike and I were just talking the other day that this work is outside and involves, coordination of. And it's really pretty easy to keep going during the pandemic. So yeah, we're some of the lucky ones, I guess, wise. But just as an aside, I will echo Stephen Garrett's comments about morale. It's a really close-knit group in the back, and I'm lucky enough to sit next to them, Commissioner West, even if I don't work directly with them. I used to work restaurants when I was much younger, and my feeling the last month before we shut down has been sometimes in a team atmosphere, you just do whatever is needed to get things done. And I've been really impressed with my colleagues, and I can't really say that I've done as much of this because I'm kind of separate, but they're answering phones. They're really supporting each other in a what needs to get done way, or how can we do things in a new way. So it's been kind of a cool environment to be in. It's a great group to work with, but yeah, there's been maybe a heightened sense of teamwork, and I do sometimes check in on those group meetings just for the energy and that sense of camaraderie. So I'll end there, stepping out of my department a little bit, and I will stand for questions.
Thank you so much, Kim. Do we have any questions for Kim from any members of the commission? Hearing none. Kim, thank you again for your update, and we thank you again for all you do, and we look forward to having you back next month.
Thanks.
Wonderful. Well, with that, there is no further business or any further reports on our agenda. Just to confirm, Steve, with the assumption that there is no Christmas bazaar in the council chambers or in City Hall, our commission meeting will be held in chambers next month. Am I correct?
Good point. Yes, I don't know of any conflicts that would prevent us from just being, I think we'll still probably be like this, we'll still have you in chambers, and Rachel, and if there are others that want to be there. Otherwise, I think the majority will be remote, but it will be kind of a standard, at least as standard as this is, commission meeting.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve.
Mr. President, regarding staff reports, Mike may have some additional updates besides Lakeview. I didn't want to leave him out.
Oh, Mike, I do apologize. Mike, did you have any updates or staff reports?
I thought I was getting out of it. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, maybe two things. I mean, you heard from me in the golf course, but one of the things that we brought to you and talked about in the past is the parking lot remodel at Heroes Park. We're adding 125 parking places, and that's going out to bid this week. So we're gonna bid at the kind of the right time of year when people can come back with good pricing, and hopefully we generate a lot of interest in that project. Pending good bid results, will kick off next May after the spring soccer season. So we've got that in the works. And then another big one that's going to start back up, at least we're going to bring startup conversations again, is Discovery Park Phase 2. So we need to dig in and talk about road improvements that are planned in and around Discovery Park and pedestrian connectivity, and then also coordination with the new fire station that will be on the corner of the park, and what all that means. And then also see if we have the list of amenities correct, and we want to make sure that's right and that that's what people really want. So we're going to start having those conversations, and that's what I got.
You're sticking to it. Awesome. Well, Mike, thank you so much for your staff update. Do we have any questions for Mike on his report? Hearing none, Mike, thank you, and thank you for what you do, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right.
With that, do we have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting until December 9th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. Again, partially in chamber, partially via Zoom meeting.
Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting until the December 9th regular meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner West. Commissioner West has made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Greer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the meeting for tonight has been adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.